que pausa de nós vamos já resolver como direito. Porque só o churrasco, a gente de racism, caucus, good was. As a reminder, it's 3 p.m. Senator Tester is still in the teleconference with us. He wants to have a briefing and an update on what's happening in DC. The floor recognizes Barry Suggs, Economic Development Chair. Idaho Speaker, Secretary, Marty, Lorenzo. Yeah, right now we got 2 items in old business, the CBFI. And we need to talk with the chairman on that one in committee, or see what we're going to do with that, the CBFI. And the Solid Inc. I think we need more discussion. We never really talked about the item in particular. So I think we're going to end up sending that one to committee and, maybe have a committee meeting. I know we don't want to pass it right away, but we need to understand it before we pass it. Make sure the articles are in order, so we sharing it out before we pass it. All right, so what about you? I believe you had something in new business too, right? So we have a third item, item 18. We want to add the field reserve. A bill for an act entitled an act to amend Title 18 Business Organizations Consolidated Corporation Code to add provisions for charter-owned corporations. Never met on that. I have to send out back to committee and maybe further discussion amongst the committee. So, yeah. Did you have any update in regards to all these projects that we approved for economic development? I see still scratching this. No, after gave up that arena, that was pretty much it. I mean, the ACC, I never no feedback from them yet. The report project, I've never seen anything. AC stores doing, I think, us prior, we're still kind of waiting. And prior, the money's, we say the money's there, but we got everything all situated. Where it's purchasing a building, the tanks, the pumps, and all that. We already got our numbers together. I think we're pretty much ready to go forward, but I don't know what's holding it up. We did what we had to do, so we're just kind of waiting on executive on that. Yeah, and I talked with Housing's Claro, talked with Claro winter time, you can't relocate anybody. So now in summertime, it makes it easier for him to relocate, following his policy, helping the tenants out with 6 months rental and living somewhere. They'll help them with 6 months, they'll pay it up for them, and then after the 6 months, then if they can't relocate it back to prior, then they're basically on their own after 6 months. And so I think we're kind of waiting on that too, from housings to move forward also. And there's all kinds of options out there. We're just trying to get rid of the duplex number 2, go with that, and keep Irby's there, and just use that area, the first area, and and then when it's time to expand, then we can, maybe in a couple of years, then we can remove the other duplex. There's a lot of options on the table, so that's the quickest and easiest way to start trying to remake the repayment of the loan. So yeah, that's in Viola. I never heard nothing. Dana wanted to get together and talk about Viola, but it never happened. About 2 weeks ago, I think. We're trying to meet up and kind of go over Viola's progress, but it didn't take place. So. And that's pretty much it for the C-stores.
Okay, Lovegrass Farmers Union, they did make an offer, but they never received a response from them yet. In the last couple of weeks, they did close out the purchases of the Delmar Church. Each you could sign it as you did at the C-store. Those are purchased too.
2 months.
Yeah, 2 months, I guess there's a stipulation with it, kind of a moving up period or something. And then last week, Luke and I met with the chairman and informed us, and he has been forwarded a letter to us that they're buying 3 more pontoons from Jack Joyce, the one that he has for rentals. The new ones that they purchased aren't here, they're on back order. I guess they believe they're coming in the middle of July. But, yeah, so they're losing business, but they had that. It was an opportunity to purchase those 3 for $36,000 for 32, something like that. Yeah. So they did purchase them, and then they started renting them. I guess they're pretty busy over there. So it's a great opportunity, and they're taking advantage of it. So for the benefit of the Grove Tribe, we could advertise it. And I heard there was some good results from the weekend, from the rodeos and powwows and fireworks and whatever. See everybody made it safely. So yeah, Madrilu feels like we're kind of waiting for Tester, I guess, was kind of opening the floor to comments and questions in regards to some of the reports. Maybe CJ's not here to answer the infrastructure and natural resources, so kind of takes a big chunk out of some of the information that we need. I did receive text from Dale Lavendor that they were trying to, or email that over the weekend from Dale Lavendor that we do need to start moving on the water code, the water code. I don't know if you received it from Jay, but we can start meeting on that again.
What's wrong with the casino? Remember feasibility study that?
What's the
No,
Oh, yeah, okay, they're waiting for a feasibility statement from Klaus Robertson for, starting for the casinos, in the Billings area. It sounded like the prime area that they liked was over by Chance's place. So on that part, but in the floor recognizes, Eric.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Secretary, members of the body. This was for that election absentee ballot election. Yung bahay directed AG 소속보다 좀 마우스 스타일 보면 certain districts that are going to engage the issue. So what we want to get together with executive and we read the basically the impulse nobody showed up for it, so that's where we're at on that. So I just want to let everybody know that AG is on these things. We're going to try to get a meeting together. AG meeting calls it, there's all who it is, so we'll be quick by a week.
Was that meeting supposed to be with us?
With AJ and election and committee AJ.
Oh,
Yes, with all of us. I think he just wanted to get everybody kind of together and start working on which items. I don't know, last time. After that, he got it, so I was able to put
Go ahead, dude.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of the body. Yes, another thing that Al already gave quite a few reports, updates, and one of them was land buyback. So that day, the chairman, Melissa, had that MOA get him for land buyback. So the chairman already signed it that day for land buyback. So it'd be forthcoming maybe the end of August, I think. So they're gonna move forward on that land buyback for all the fractionated lands, the willing buyers on the fractionated lands. And so that's gonna be forthcoming, so that was an update. We asked for I asked for on behalf of the legislative branch for that MOA, and Gail Lavers said that he would email us, I believe, the Speaker of the House, and then we will distribute that.
Well, it was good, because that was on that cooperative agreement for the executive to control some of the administrative duties. That I did take with us, to try to be part of the game.
And not only that, I gave emails to them, that could be appreciated that Gail sent it to all of us about gains, that he introduced a bill from the Congress side, House side. That bill is to give the tribes more control of that money. And he said that to, I don't know if you guys read it in your emails. So, but that's what I believe, I think he introduced that already. So that would give us more control and more, and then it would add another 5 years. That was one of the things that's gonna add another 5 years instead of the 10 years today. 100 million, gosh, 100, what was it? Jay, was that 107 million for land buyback for the total tribe? Or was that 110 million? 111? Or was it 100? 1.99999. But anyways, you can, that's for our information.
And part of that meeting was on the Indian coal production tax credit. I guess it's kind of run into some snags on the hill. But that's one of the reasons that Chairman wanted myself to do. It's easy to go with him to DC and lobby with him in regards to the Indian coal production tax credit. It's passed the Senate, I thought.
Yeah.
It's passed the Senate and it's kind of hit a roadblock in Congress. So it's there. Try to get it done, maybe, if not this time, it's maybe after the election, and it might be during a lame duck legislation. So hopefully that will go through, because that pertains to a lot of money on our part in regards to not just the money that we receive from the tax credit, but also the production that Westmoreland would be an incentive for them to produce more coal.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, Secretary, members of the body, right now they have 9 days, Senate, to work on this. Indian coal tax production credit, 9 days, and then the rest are gonna be campaigning, and then it was December would be the late duck session. Is what Gal was sharing with us. And so those 9 days, I believe, is the end of July, and that's where they want us to go to DC and start lobbying to push this. Because the Indian coal tax production credit, we receive $3 million a year to our general fund budget every year, and that's not happening. That's why we have a shortfall of cash that's coming in revenue, $3 million a year, and that also goes to your per capita. And so it's actually CDs on these income the tax credits. It's CDs that have to be invested, and you got to receive that money, and it takes about 8 months to actually get that money back into our tribal account. So it's a process. We don't get that money right away. Even though the tax credit passes the House and the Senate, signed by the, but this is for only 2 years as well too. So, and then not only that, some of the information that Dale shared with us that day, the EPA has Obama in his back pocket, environmental staff, and so it doesn't really look good. It looks doesn't look good in the coal. He said the last coal deal, probably the biggest coal deal in the United States, is probably the Call-P Energy that we signed, and that was probably going to be the last. You know, until a new president sits down, that's not an environmentalist, and then that will change. But at the moment, President Obama is not in favor of coal. And so that's why the leadership, positive change leadership, is looking for other ways of our resources to develop and bring jobs to the reservation, to our reservation. Right now, coal is your livelihood for almost 40 years. About 40 years, 1974, I got 2014 COVID. So that's 40 years. That's been our bread and butter. And now, and then not only that, in the state of Washington, they are, with the coal export, if we can do something about that, that's another strategy that's why we met in Denver. So that's a strategy that the BNSF, Burlington Northern, and then SSA Marine, and also Call-P Energy and the Pro Tribe. So it's a lot of lobbying at this point. We're talking about the rail, we're talking about building that coal port for export to the Asian markets, especially Korea. And so right now, it looks kind of dim and doom and gloom, as they say. But they got lobbyists they were talking about all the congressmen, their senators, where they stand in Oregon and Washington and Idaho. And then one of the various things, BNSF wasn't too worried about the coal being transported over there to Washington, because he said that's under the radar at this time. But the main concern is the oil that is being transported to Washington. Because oil, if there's a train wreck, that oil is flammable. When it gets into the rivers, it's flammable. Coal is actually, you filter to purify water with coal. Coal filters, that's how they filter purified water. So that's where the EIS, Environmental Impact Statement, which was supposed to take 6 months, and we've already elapsed 2 years. So that EIS is still pending for how coal is impacting the water versus the oil. And EIS, and so that's the report on the meeting, the strategy. So every Burlington Northern, they already put in like 23 million to expand their rails where they can pass each other, so there's no holdup in the metropolitan areas that is going through. Like Billings, remember when you're trying to cross 27th Street and sometimes you have to wait? So if there's more production in coal heading to the coal ports, that's where they're building rail lines to go either around it or to pass each other. And so their transportation would be a lot smoother. And that was some of the discussion over there in Denver at that time. And that's when I attended the afternoon session at 1. So there was a lot of strategy, and some of the senators and congressmen, they're not opposing. They're because it's election time, so they're kind of riding the fence, or they're being silent about where they stand on coal. And you couldn't go here. That's that report in Denver.
그러니까 in that regard, bağlaçaları boşalttık. Environmental skada çok şeyciler. Mas skada çıkıp yürüyüştü.
Already in court.
Lost görünüyor da Big Spring Creek orada günlük Colorado orada Arizona New Mexico orada koşuyor karakteri. Красивейший гигант. Моя стрижка Indian countries in northern Iowa, Salish, Wood, della nostra Kirby, voleva pesca. So, she avevano le giù, Anyway, I think Eric, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Secretary, members of the body. There's a lot in the cookbook for a resolution for a congressional hearing. We'll take to the,
That's part of the House and Human Reporting, there's, we've had this and then this, so go ahead, why don't you go ahead and give a House and
Senator Moses, here it is. Here it is. There's a lot of people up there, ways that, yesterday, when it comes down to it, Pete Conway did, retired, we had him retire, and then after more, I had retired Jay. Kevin Sidmark, and this summer, we retired Jay. So you guys did make a difference after age, all out of pass, because I got to see, almost, keep pushing. It's very husky, it's also medium, it's where the guys, they sort of elite, it's they are 33 was medium, come off the field, acting there, 128 place. Last year, there was the same thing in Phoenix. This is what's going on. Same thing in Hotel Down. It took us 3 years to string that place out. And now we have 120 days. So last days, I don't know if I can get those what they're supposed to do is, what happens is, the same thing you did that day, you talk, executive side, CPA, what I do, there was not always to advocate, because I had military officer, go tired. Same thing. Wait, no, it's good. I saw the Ihaka, go to, and go push by CIEs that go to, those that go. They're starting to ask questions and saw that and I actually were pretty well overwhelmed. They CIE we guys know, and we're pushing that, and then I got next one your investigation there's audit them all open. So 그래서 이 push by the hoping to get things straightened out. Maui Koja, they're just waiting at the area office to wait out the storm heat. And so we almost do that, but see, I got house board today, in power hook guys, in power hook, when we turned around and we're asking to have them look into a lawsuit. So I got a lawsuit, we're gonna try to, for mismanage of the Crow facility, sue the military office. The strategy, if that was let's never matter like maybe Portland or Phoenix, maybe go over there where we get a fair shake. And not only so that all you poison, hospital got 4 million now, really good. You're in the red. 4 million. Look at it. Contract house service, polish. This 10 million in pool. And account credit moves up. Yes, how many of so rather what could be our age for the tree. And start making some changes. So it's easy that we still almost goes after we still pushing, keep pushing for the health. They're starting to just a little after. I made a speaker on nursing home. You want to have to show nursing, nursing home board. There's just August 6th, we're taking over. So that August nursing home. So we're looking at headline 40,000. 그럼 so deadline June 6th, we got it there. Now August 6th, they're moving out. HMS, House Management Service. And so what we did was we got Carla Coaster. So she's going to be running a place, nursing home. Dango shows business management. Kevin is doing work, so she's been working with IFS. And licensed, we're all good, so we're preparing to take over the nursing home on August 6th. Once we do, there's a long-term contract, long-term care. Now, long-term care, there's 638 process that all I did, Margaret lawyer, this. And they're going through it. Once we get that long-term care, this, we'll do state, we'll negotiate people. I think we get like $165 per patient. We'll negotiate people. I think we can get 300 particulars altogether. Goes to the state. One state, 165 basically. We'll negotiate people. We can ask for like 260, 270. Got by clean days. See what the money is. And what that comes out to, if you look at, there's only 14 patients in a nursing home. But if we get 30 patients in a nursing home, I got a nursing home, 1 year, it's going to make over 3.2 million. That's 38 to push. And then once we do that, then we can start looking into dialysis, how by cleaning dialysis. So we're making progress, taking control of our own nursing home. 10 years ago, it hasn't been touched since Paranormal Administration years ago. We haven't looked at it. Nothing's changed. The health management system, they're abusing it. But in any level, our hopes of the chip wounded. They had a plan 10 years ago, it's been way past that. So now we're moving to get that place back in Kaluda, And then we can start being those, yeah, you probably heard a lot of stories, horror stories. Yeah, so again, off Stephen Colton was sure. And mga kaya especially kung sa loses ko ikot. And it's just yun, that's mga kaya sige sa guru. Kasi bounces lagi chiwayo ay toko that's mga kaya ito ikaw yun mamaya suspect ako mo. We can still ask for advice by putting my guys. Just want to say thank you for listening to me. We're trying to make some progress in health. I got push by so we're still pushing for the nursing home and the IHS. So we can take over the bomb instead. Wouldn't that help? Please, I hope.
Yeah, this time is just a few minutes before 3, so maybe we'll go ahead and see if we can get in contact. Sherry's gonna take care of that.
There's areas in the chest. Section that has private lots and each district. And as far as tribal lands available, set aside, take off this ordinance, you have it subject to that. Hello, partition.
No, this is, Kenneth Oldrow, Speaker of the House at the Legislative Branch.
How are you?
Good. We have a quorum here with our, in our legislative session right now, and we're just waiting for you guys to look up, and we're all ready to listen to you guys.
Thank you. And I apologize for the delay in dialing in. My name is Tom Lopatch. Some of you I have met, some I have not. Steve and staff, and with me is Sierra Howlett, and thank you for that. I'm for the Senator on the Indian Affairs Committee, handling most of our Montana tribal issues.
Okay.
Just wanted to touch base and have the first and what we hope are monthly calls between Senator Tester's staff and the road legislative, as well as the leadership to talk about what Senator Tester can be doing for you, hear what your needs are to make sure we are focused on the right issues. So, more a chance for us to hear from you on what issues you want Senator Tester to be working on.
Okay.
With that, should we open it up and let you share a few thoughts?
Sure. On our part, or from your office, there, at this time?
We'll let you go ahead first.
Okay, one of the main issues that you're already aware of, and so is Senator Tester, is in regards to the Indian Full Production Tax Credit. And I know Darren's been voicing his concern on that, and I see that Tester's been doing his part as much as he can. But I realize we still need to lobby with other congressmen and other senators to get on board with us for that legislation. The Chairman Olcott did brief us last week in regards to where it was at. So at this time, I guess Chairman Olcott, a few of us others will be traveling down there here in a couple of weeks to touch base with everybody over there again.
Let me have Sierra update you on where that is.
Okay?
I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I work closely with my colleague Dylan on this issue too, but that passed the tax extender, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what we're, we got that through the Senate here, so we're continuing to help push that through as well.
Yeah, that's what the Chairman informed us last week. And it's on the Congress side where we need to start working, right?
Outside?
Yes.
Yes. So we've gotten it through the Senate, so now it wants to go through the House side.
Yes, and while the Indian Affairs staff got a chance to tour the mine while they were in your country in May, so they wanted to be a pass along and thanks for hosting them. Darren was able to bring them around and show them the infrastructure there. So we got a good taste of that and look at what work is being done with that tax credit as well.
Yeah, I remember that trip. There was a few of us that were on that tour.
I'm confirming that right now, but we'll get you an answer in just a few minutes.
Okay.
Okay?
Here's Senator Eric Burdenground. He's with the House and Human, the vice chair of the committee there. And he has some concerns in regards to the healthcare. I'll give him the floor here.
Good afternoon. This is Senator Eric Bergeron. I'm concerned about the congressional investigation of the hearing, and we haven't heard any updates or anything like that. I'd like to find out what's going on with that.
Thank you. This is going to be an ongoing investigation through about the end of September. We are gathering facts and visiting different tribes to see how Indian Health Service in and out of Montana is working. About 2 weeks ago, Sierra and the Indian Health Service staff, the healthcare economist from Dartmouth, but looked at just one Indian Health facility, found, if my memory is correct, believe they could save $8 million in that one healthcare facility through better management. We'll be continuing to investigate and do this research through the end of September, and then we will be going to the Indian Health Service and saying, here are the ways you can fix things, and give them a list. Our hope and prayer is that much of it can be fixed with better management and better use of the funds they have, rather than increasing funds. That's kind of our thing. Sierra, jump in where I'm wrong.
Yeah, and I want to echo what Tom was saying. I think that additionally to that, the committee is looking at having some oversight hearings, looking at what topics we want to hone in on and focus on. Some other tribes in the area had submitted to us, or had rather gathered from their membership specific complaints, specific issues that individual members were having. So, the center always encourages a collaborative partnership with tribes in addressing situations at hand as well. So, anything that Crow is doing to look at the issues happening there and wanting to share those with the community, that's always welcome in helping to direct the agenda that we have and what we're able to have oversight on.
Okay. One of the main concerns is that the area offices, they're pretty top heavy, and a lot of the funding doesn't go directly to the patient care in Crow. And I know they get a lot of cuts at the area office, and most of that money doesn't get to the patient. So, I just want to, like you said, echo too, that, we're still having a lot of problems here on the Crow Reservation that we need to strive and try to, like you said, there's a lot of money to be saved. And I think one of the big things is that the area office is really top heavy. That's just some of my concerns, and there's some key people that are considering funding that doesn't get to the Crow Reservation. I just wanted to remind you of that.
Thank you. And I think we had also heard some of the providers, specifically in Crow, some of the medical providers not seeing enough patients in a given day. So we're going to see if that is a problem everywhere, and how we can encourage more.
What happens is, what comes down is, I talked to one of the physicians off the record, and he said that, he told me that, there's no incentive for the provider. It doesn't matter how many patients he sees, if he sees 10 patients or just one patient, he still gets paid the same. That's the kind of attitude some of these providers have, So what happens is you have a long wait at the ER, you have more people going to the ER, it's just not running right, and that's some of the things that I think that should be addressed too.
Good, we are looking at that.
But it would be nice if we can get an update every now and then, see what's going on with the health issue, and I know my constituents would like to find out what's going on with this hearing, if we can get a report from you guys, or even something saying that this investigation is going on. A lot of people ask about, where is this, investigation, where is that, and I have no way of, finding out what's going on, so, if I can maybe have you guys send me an email or something that could help my constituents understand what's going on with the hearing or the investigation, what kind of investigation? Are we doing an audit on the funding that's going to different tribes? I know that some of the funding, there's more funding for certain tribes than there is here on our reservation. And then we haven't had that, we haven't had the funding where, while that will, our enrollment has gone up now to almost 14,000. When we first had the hospital here, it was about 9,000, and we haven't had that, the numbers adjusted to the funding that's allocated to us,
But we will have an update for you by the end of next week. And then we're going to keep doing these phone calls on a monthly basis so we can keep you updated. By the end of next week, we'll get you an email, Eric.
Okay.
But then this is the first of monthly phone calls, so we can stay in touch.
That would be great.
And for your constituents right now, you can simply let them know that we are researching the Indian Health Service broadly through September 30th, at which point we're going to go to them and say, these are the things that we want done. I think you guys, as a legislative body, are just like us. Now, we can't run every organization, but we can go in and tell the organization how to run themselves. Does that make sense, or is that a weird thing to say?
Can you repeat that? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, yeah, it makes sense. Oh, that's it for me, so, thank you.
Tom? The chairman's here also now, so he just stepped in. Chairman Holkow.
Hi, Chairman, how are you?
Doing good.
Pierre and Tom Lopez from Pierre Howard, and we were just talking about the health service, and we're going to try and do these calls once a month to ensure that we are following up and working on the issues you need us working on, you need Senator.
Okay.
So far, we covered the Indian coal production tax credit and the IHS hearing. What other issues?
I believe the land wayback, we did sign an agreement last week, and it's kind of an open-ended cooperative agreement, different from all the other tribes. We work directly with the administrators, not with the land wayback director, and we submitted a portion where we didn't close on anything that has anything to do with Section 2 of the PRO Act. And that's another discussion we wanted to have with everybody involved.
Chairman, if you could share that, if at all possible, with the committee, just so we can collect the cooperative agreement just for record of it.
Yeah, we just sent it off on Thursday, so it should be there in Interior today, and then we're going to give the report to you guys on Wednesday. That's when we give the report to the legislature. That's when we're going to hand out the agreement and explain some of the agreement with it.
Okay, and I know that Crow has a lot of unique interests and issues with the land buyback program, and we are having a land buyback hearing in the Senate on July 16th. President Adler from Fort Belknap is going to be our Montana witness, so we are really wanting and encouraging all the other tribes in our state to submit written testimony for the record and then provide us with any questions they would we like the senator to refer to both the Department of Interior led by that staff, who will be there testifying, and also the Garden City Group, who is administering the second round of co-development. They will also have a representative there to testify, so we'll be able to ask them direct questions on where the second round of payments is and a timeline. So if there's any specific questions that come up before that panel, then we really encourage them to submit it. You can send it right to me.
Okay, the reason why I brought the 1920 Pro Loudon Act is there's a lot of the plans that are have quality title. They aren't fee or trust. They're they're owned by non-Indians. There's a certain amount of acres that non-Indians they couldn't buy over 1,900 acres. A lot of them have surpassed that number. And I brought that up with Monahan. He didn't understand. He was more on the land buyback. So I brought it up with Mike Black and others at the Interior. And they sit down and talk about Section 2 of the Pro Loudon Act. And a lot of those EIAs saying they didn't give the title to those non-Indians, which is a violation of the 1920 Pro Loudon Act. And so we added that into the agreement saying that it doesn't shut the door on Section 2 of the Pro Loudon Act. And that's a whole different discussion, but we want to bring that up. It's Crow specific. We're one of the only tribes that had a Crow Loudon Act, where Crow House has the Bells Act.
Yeah. Was Mike Black helpful to you?
He didn't say one way or the other that he was support us or but he did say that was a discussion we needed to have with Interior, and so that's the next thing that we'll probably bring to the table. In the past, Lake Chairman Van did propose a bill with Tester where the U.S. government would give, I believe it was $300 million to the tribe, and we buy those Section 2 lands. And that plan was the name of the bill, but it was in committee. That was a few years back, about 2008.
Yeah, exactly along those lines. We can definitely ask the department how they're doing issues of, there's outstanding acts that might affect the cooperative agreement or the land buyback process. But again, if you want to word it specifically or want to brief us on any of that, we welcome that too.
Okay.
Chairman, do you have here the contact? Should I have her email you later so you can get these to her?
Yeah, that'd be good. Do you have my email?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello?
Yep.
Hi, this is Senator Carl C. Rosenhead from the Arrowhead District. And my question is still on the land buyback. I know that Congressman Daines, as I believe, introduced a bill for the land buyback program on the House side. And one of the is extending it to 5 years instead of the 10 years to use that $103 million that is allocated to the Crow tribe for the land buyback.
Yes, indeed.
And then I'll have a specific concern. I know that this is supposed to buy back fractionated lands, and my concern is that, as a Milwaukee myself, I have fractionated interests with others that have inherited land with me, and some is, I don't think it hasn't been addressed, but it's been a concern of other allottees. There's 6,000 landowners on the Crow tribal allottees. And some of them have concern where there's a tract of land where there's only about three landowners. And some own about 2/3, two of them owns 2/3 and one is less. Well, you know, my numbers are wrong. The fractionated, what I just said is wrong, but there's 3 landowners and the majority of them, you know, if they don't want to sell, but what if one of them, all those 3, what if the 2 want to sell and that one doesn't want to sell? You know, so that's a concern with some of the allottees. You know, it's a competent lease, some of them is a competent lease, and some of them are office lease, so there's different scenarios to really look at. And I don't think some of them have been really addressed for buying these fractionated lands. So some of them don't want to lose that competent lease that they have. If the tribe, you know, buys that fractionated lands and then they lose that competency to negotiate their own leases, so that's a concern of theirs, and somehow, you know, we need to address that in the land buyback.
Thank you. I first want to hear on the first issue that was raised, the bill that is going to be introduced in the House.
Yeah.
Senators Walsh and Tester. Senator Walsh introduced a bill on this in the Senate in May, and go ahead, Tia.
So Senator Walsh does have a land buyback bill that's currently pending in the Senate, and it addresses the 638 issue, compacting land buyback, as well as numerous other issues that I believe that may be addressed in Congressman Daines' legislation, although we haven't received that yet, so I can't say exactly the details of his legislation. Congressman Daines wasn't on Walsh's original bill, so there may be some differences in that legislation. We'll have to take a look when we see it. But I know that that's pending, and it did not get referred to the Indian Affairs Committee, though. I believe it went to Finance. So that another bill that he had introduced, and we were able to reintroduce it and hear it, and we're going to hear it in the Indian Affairs Committee, but Senator Tester is not able to have jurisdiction over it. It's not within his committee. So, you know, that's something we're looking at, but we'll definitely ensure address those issues during our July 16th hearing. The hearing is an oversight hearing, so we're going to be talking about issues broadly, as opposed to legislative hearing, well, we're looking at legislation.
So thank you for bringing that up. It's good to have the specific example for us to look into.
Yeah, and we'll definitely make a note of that competency issue for the senator, and like I was telling Chairman O'Kay, if you have other specific issues that need to be addressed, we'd be more than happy to either ask those before the panel if there's time, or else submit them as questions to the record.
Okay, thank you.
I do want to go back, the tax credit, the Indian coal production tax credit. The House has not taken that up yet. Senate indeed has passed it, and the House will look at it later this year, but I just wanted to make sure and get you the correct answer. And I think it was Bill that you had raised that. Senate version on the Indian coal tax credit was a 2-year version, just so you know. Aren't you glad that you only have one house? You have to have 2 to make everything match.
What's the motive on the House side?
I cannot speak to it. I can shake my head and laugh.
How about your personal opinion?
It was important when I behind it. I know that I had that in the Senate, so we were able to move that through over here.
There was a lot of pressure to get these taxes and there is moving in the Senate. A lot of pressure, and that was a priority.
Executive Fulcro again. I have a question in regards to the tax credit. Has Senator Tester ever considered introducing a bill in regards to an Indian energy production tax credit? Not just coal, but let's say natural gas, oil. Maybe that would compensate the ADD fees that are assessed on Indian country where it hinders our production in regards to oil and gas.
Regarding Indian energy broadly, the senator is on the Indian energy bill that was introduced by Senator Morales, and that just passed out of committee. It didn't specifically, as you are all well aware, the Indian coal tax production credit was very contrived, so it didn't include that as more kind of holistic, widespread bill. But it does have some provision for oil and gas. So I encourage all of those to take a look at that, and I can send, when I email Chairman this evening, I can also send a copy of that as well.
Thank you.
What's the status on the one-stop shop of the energy office?
I believe there was some language in the Indian Energy Act that included some of that, and like I said, that did pass through committee, so it's with the full Senate right now. We're waiting on it. There's several bills, I believe 15 in total, that Senator Tester has passed out of committee since he's become chairman. We're sitting in limbo after the Senate Affairs Committee. So we've had hearings on them, held markups on them, and passed them through committee. And now we're looking at ways to get them passed to the full Senate. And I don't know if any of you had seen the interview that Senator Tester did with Indian Country Today, but he mentioned in that some different strategies for doing that, whether we group them all together and pass them as an Indian omnibus bill, or if we're able to put those on other pieces of moving legislation. And he's really committed to, doing more than just talking about the issues here, those to see them passed, as we've done the work in the committee. Now we want to see the full Senate take them up. So,
As Theo said, the senator has pushed 15 bills through the Indian Affairs Committee since he got the gavel in February. He'll be sitting down with Senator Reid, Harry Reid, this month to ask Harry how he wants to move these 15 bills on the Senate floor. And we'll get them passed in the House. We'll stay in touch with you on all of that, so you know every step of the way.
Tom, in the past, I've mentioned that how important the tax credit is to grow, and I couldn't state that, any more clear. Right now, we're going to be $3 million in the red at the end of the year, at the end of this fiscal year, and I explained this to Senator Walsh as well. We always say, Democrats are our friends, and we have Democratic president, Democratic governor, Democratic senators, but still we don't have a tax credit. And I guess what I'm saying is, help us help you, because we want to see Tester in the chairman seat, for another term at least.
I agree, Chairman, and as you said, you have a Democratic president, a Democratic Senate, and that Democratic Senate has passed the Indian coal tax credit. States where the Indian coal tax credit has not moved is the Republican-controlled United States House of Representatives. The President cannot sign it until it moves through the Republican-controlled House of Representatives.
On the Republican side, they're trying to revamp the whole thing and make it a permanent extension. We're not too worried about that right now, but what we are worried about is having that tax credit move swiftly if we could. But right now, they're trying to revamp the whole thing and do a permanent extension instead of 2 years. And I don't know the status on that. The Patty Power introduced that one on the House side from Westmoreland's lobbyist.
Certainty, the Senate has passed the 2-year one.
Yeah.
And it's ready for the House to take up and pass, and 2 years is better than nothing. And beyond just the Indian coal tax credit, there are probably about 40 tax credits that are passed periodically or every 2 years, that if we need to add to them or subtract from them, we have that flexibility to change it. But again, the United States Senate and your friend, Democratic Senator John Tester, chairman of the Indian Affairs Committee, has moved it through the United States Senate. The president cannot sign it until the House moves it. The House hasn't moved it. Pay attention to that. Keep your eye on the ball. When the ball moves, then John's the one moving the ball.
Okay?
What else?
On the APD fees, we did do a support letter from not only Colt, but from the tribe, saying that Indian land is not public land, and we're trying to revise that APD fees. We went to the Department of Interior, and they did say that it was has to come from the Senate, saying that reservation lands are excluded from the APD fees. A lot of the work that BLM does to assess these fees is done by the local BIA. It's all the land work, the title work, and $6,500 per well that you have to, on a reservation where in the state of Montana, you can go drill for $50, but when you come on a reservation, it's $6,500 per well, and that's not very good business when you start pursuing oil and gas development, because that it's an added tax that just to draw on a reservation, it costs an extra $6,450 when you can go to the state of Montana and drill for virtually nothing, $50 off reservation.
I do not know this issue. Sierra will check into it.
Yeah, I'm checking on it, Chairman. I believe that was included in the Indian Energy Act that was passed through, but I will double check that and confirm with you. I know that those discussions about the APCs have happened on the committee level and with the senator. So he's aware of the issue. Like I said, I believe it was in that version of the bill, but I'll double check and confirm with you.
And she will confirm in the email she gets back to you later and copy me.
Okay.
I apologize. I'm going to have to meet with the senator in about 5 minutes. But I think this gives us a good list of issues to work on and get back to you on. We will certainly have an update when we speak again next month, if not well before that. Any of these issues, Sierra will respond to the chairman tonight in email, and hopefully he can share with you. This is helpful to me and to Sierra, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anything else before we conclude?
I think that's it for now. Until next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Okay, at this time, as 3:47. We'll call for recess until Wednesday at 10 a.m. We'll see the executive officials report at that time. And continue on with whole business. So it's time when, floor is possible.
Mr. Speaker, Township, bid, 107 for the Ohio pit. Crazy Mountains, Ulster State, and that's 8:30, they're going, charter them, we are able to actually get off with, at 7. He, come on, he will get, big timber, on those two. Yeah, he got it in and out, security class in law, way too much. Hey, yo, they put on you, and it will be tested about, so better than others. We'll get it tested out here.
So 8:30, one building's one level of that.
Right up off of, community center,
Okay.
8:30.
30, 50, 8, then you know, please, that's all right. Thank you. Second expedition on to will tell up.
Hopefully, yeah, that way.
Okay.
Good timber.
Okay, need a motion recess on Wednesday at 10 a.m. A motion written by
Second.
Winston, second by Eric. All in favor, say aye.